Fine. Just think, my brother, my troubles will all soon be over. I've had nothing but trouble all of my life. It's been a hardship for me to get food, to get clothing, and to live. But soon I will have passed all of this and all of these things. Once I learned for certain that I must die, I made up my mind then to accept my fate in good spirit. Napoleon says, why are we not taking this individual's attitude? We know this is the only trip that we're going to make through this little world, right?
Right.
So if we know that, why aren't we content on being as happy as we can be and enjoying every moment of it?
Because we're not certain we're going to die.
Okay, you blew that analogy all to hell, yeah.
No, I'm serious. You want to know why?
Yeah, but
It's the truth.
we're just thinking it's not going to happen to
That's
me.
right.
Yeah, it's not. That's why people don't prepare a will. That's why they don't buy life insurance.
That's why my friends are not squeezing every second and making the most of it. Because secretly, deep down deep, we have no concept that it's ever going to end.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's someday.
Someday.
It's going to someday, but, probably 30 or 40 years down the road. It's not going to end soon. His final thought on this, on worry, is acquit yourself of the fear of ill health and worry by the decision to forget the symptoms. Master the fear of loss of love by reaching the decision to get along without it, if that is necessary. If not, embrace it and move forward.
That's right.
I mean, that's pretty common sense from Napoleon, isn't it?
Well, that's how he got rich. He was smart.
Yes, he was, except for that one part about thinking it's going to happen to all of us. You straightened him out on that. The main thing, Gary, as you started the beginning of this year about being successful, you come back to the fact you can't be successful if you're not happy. If you're listening to this program today, you're alive. You're probably in your vehicle, which is great that you've got a vehicle. You've got your radio turned on, or you're listening on your computer. But you're here. Enjoy it.
Life.
It is precious, isn't it?
Amen.
My friend, thank you so much for being here. If you'd like to get in touch with Gary, we figured it out on that billboard. He's a personal injury attorney. You can contact him, Gary, at GaryCJohnson.com. Remember the tip he gave you at the beginning. It's summer vacation. If you're traveling, you're going to Myrtle Beach, you're going to Florida, more than likely you're going to be down around Georgia, South Carolina. Gary does have an office there. Should anything come up that you need his help, please contact him there also. You can also catch our television show on the Fox affiliate in Central Kentucky on Lexington, starting your Monday at 6:30 a.m. and starting your weekend on Friday at 6:30 a.m. My friend, I think we've had a good time, and we learned a little bit.
We've enjoyed the moment.
Indeed we have. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune in. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this same time.
Thank you for listening to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.
It's 10:32.
The WHIR weather forecast is brought to you by Dexter and Reitmeyer Insurance, your local independent insurance agency, proudly representing Auto Owners Insurance Company. Call Mark Dexter or Chris Reitmeyer for a free quote.
Mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms today, high near 82. Chance of showers tonight, partly cloudy, low of 64. Sunny Sunday, high 86. Sunny Monday, high near 90. Tuesday, showers and thundershowers. It's 73 degrees.
Explore how technology can identify and track serial killers.
This story has the potential to change how homicides are investigated all across the country.
And discover if even today there may still be a killer on the loose in Gary, Indiana.
I think the Gary Police Department should be looking at some of those old cases. They still may have a killer out there.
Listen to Algorithm wherever you get your podcasts.
Anxiety and panic attacks can take over your life, but only if you let them. Join comedian Jen Kirkman for Anxiety Bites, the podcast about normalizing anxiety. Jen thinks it's time for those living with the condition to stop whispering, "I have anxiety," and to start saying it out loud with a shrug.
You can have a great life and be anxious during it.
Jen brings her own life lessons, humor, and hope to a show that's an open, honest discussion about anxiety disorders.
If I hear one more time, "Oh, it's left over from being a caveman." Well, okay, but when will this default setting to being anxious, when will this change?
Along the way, Jen speaks with PhDs, creatives, and spiritual gurus about how to self-diagnose, start treatment, and live every day with anxiety and panic.
It's interesting with a panic attack that it never really is about anything that's happening in that moment, right? It's always kind of this build-up where like you almost can't take it anymore. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Listen to Anxiety Bites wherever you get your podcasts.
Get your engine running and talk NASCAR racing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 right here on AM 1230 WHIR.
Listening to the best of the Sean Hannity Show.
Stay in touch with the Hannity faithful. Join the message board at Hannity.com.
Welcome back to the Sean Hannity National, Global, International Radio Show, Leo 2.0. In for Mr. Hannity until next week. He'll be back. I'm here today, and Sean's have a all-star list of guest hosts, but glad to be here. The Twitter account for Sean Hannity is at Sean Hannity. Our phone number is 1-800-941-SEAN. That's 1-800-941-7326. Leo 2.0 in for Mr. Hannity. And let me just tell you right now, I've been giving you a list of positions where I stand on various issues. Let me give you one position very clear. The Hunter Biden laptop has been basically hidden by the Democratic Party, and they're still in denial, and they kept it a secret thanks to the left-wing media. Joe Biden's voice is on an audio clip, and the White House press secretary goes in denial, and I can't wait until November when the Republicans take over the House and there's full-scale investigation. Let me play these two clips, and then I'm going to bring on my special guest, John Solomon. But let me just play
that. It's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
Is there any doubt that's Joe Biden's voice? Okay, let's play clip one.
Is there a voicemail of the president talking to his son about his overseas business dealings if the president has said he's never spoken to his son about his overseas business dealings?
Well, first I'll say that what the president said stands. So if that's what the president said, that is what stands. And secondly,
a New York Times article concerning Hunter Biden's business dealings, and he says, "I think you're clear." How is that not him talking to his son about his overseas business dealings?
We're not, from this podium, I am not going to talk about alleged materials from the laptop.
So are you disputing the president's voice on the voicemail?
I am not going to talk about alleged materials on the laptop.
Are
it's
you
not
disputing
happening
then that it is not?
Peter, I refer you to his son's representative.
That is a reason right there he should be impeached and out of office. And you know what, Karine Jean-Pierre, shame on you. You think we're stupid? You think we're stupid? It's embarrassing. I want to bring on my next guest, John Solomon, who's editor-in-chief of justthenews.com, and he's going to join us to discuss the audio tape and the denial of the laptop. John Solomon, I've seen you so many times on Hannity. Thank you very much for joining me, filling in on Mr. Hannity's radio program. Thank you, John. Welcome.
It is great to be with you, Leo. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
John, please, I mean, I remember in 2020, Kristen Welker, NBC moderator for the Biden-Trump debate, try to discuss race, and President Trump brought up the laptop. Joe Biden denied it. Russian disinformation. It took the left-wing media 2 years. What's going on? What's going on?
Well, listen, they held the media for a while. They were able to get this false story that the laptop was Russian disinformation, that everything about Hunter Biden's business deals in Ukraine and China were copacetic. They were fine. There was nothing wrong there. And then the dike broke, and they can't hold that story anymore. So now their strategy is, we were glad to talk about it when we could deny it, but now that we can't deny it, we're just not going to talk about it. We're going to try to pretend that it doesn't exist. It's a remarkable performance by this White House. These are issues of substance. These are not personal matters. These are issues that go to the credibility of the president. When he makes a decision on Ukraine or Russia, when he makes a decision on China, the American people have a right to know, did the business deals your son did have anything to do with the decisions you just made? And they're going to drown that out. They're refusing to address what are very legitimate questions. President Bush, H.W. Bush, had to answer questions about his son's business dealings with Silverado. The Clintons had to answer questions about their business dealings as it related to their foundation in Whitewater. But this president and his team arrogantly refuses to address the same questions, even though the public interest issues are the same ones that dominate or were involved in those earlier episodes.
Talking to John Solomon, editor-in-chief of justthenews.com. Well, John, try to get into the White House mind. What's the end game? What's the end game?
To see how long they go to get to the election. I mean, they know they're going to take a beating in the election, right? The polls are showing a potential red avalanche in America. People are frustrated by this president's performance. There's a 36% approval rating. Only 28% of Americans want him to run for re-election. He's only 18 months in office. He already has lost that much support. After the election, they're not going to be able to avoid this anymore. If Republicans are in control of the committees in the House, at least, maybe the House and the Senate, these questions are going to get fully illuminated and through subpoena and contempt and other issues. The Republicans in Congress are going to get the information that they were denied in 2019 and 2020. And we got a little taste of this today, Leo. There was a little hearing with Janet Yellen, and James Comer was relentless. He's the man who would oversee the House Oversight Committee. He was relentless in trying to get answers. It is clear that when Republicans control, they no longer will stand for stonewalling. They're going to get these documents, and if not, they're going to pursue contempt. And remember, this Justice Department was glad to pursue contempt against Steve Bannon. It's going to be hard-pressed to not enforce the same congressional standards on Hunter Biden. The avalanche of truth is coming next year.
Talking to John Solomon, editor-in-chief of justthenews.com, how damaging does this denial affect Joe Biden's chances to gain the party's assurance of running for re-election, if any?
Yeah, listen, I think he's got a lot of problems, right? The first is the economy. Everybody right now is stuck in that pocketbook mode. And you go to the food store, you go to the gas store, you go at any store, you realize that Joe Biden's economy now affects you in a negative way. So he's got that issue, but the bigger issue is trust, right? Joe Biden said, I'm a person you can trust. And now people are going to remember he looked in the camera and said there was nothing wrong about Hunter Biden. He looked in the camera, said the laptop is disinformation. We now know the Justice Department is investigating Hunter Biden specifically for not paying taxes, you ready for this, on his Ukraine business dealings, the Burisma business dealings, the one that Joe Biden said there was no there. I think the trust issue becomes bigger and bigger for this president every day that a new revelation comes out about Joe Biden, because he looked us all in the eye with that warm, fuzzy voice and said, you can trust me. There's no there. And now we know there's a big there.
Does he insult the intelligence of the American public when his White House press secretary says, we're not going to answer this?
Yeah, listen, he insults us when he says Putin's the reason for gas prices going up. Or, every day he gives us an excuse that we know as common sense Americans aren't true. He insulted moms and dads who were scrambling to find any baby formula they could on empty shelves and saying, no one would know that if you close down the largest baby food formula plant in America, there might be a shortage. I mean, most Americans think, of course there's going to be a shortage if you do that. He has given time and again nonsensical answers. I think the insult to the American people is already pretty big on prior answers. But now the idea that after talking robustly 2 years ago, saying there's no there, that flipped around now, well, we just can't talk about it. Talk to his lawyers. That's not going to fly with the American people. It's only going to add to the picture that Joe Biden can't be trusted.
Talking to John Solomon, editor-in-chief of JustTheNews.com. John, final question. Do you think the left-wing media, the favorable CNN, MSNBC, you think they will ever challenge the White House press secretary and ask the same question that Fox News or other outlets are asking about whether or not that is Joe Biden's voice?
That is a great question. So far, they haven't shown the courage. But I can tell you behind the scenes. Now, remember, I broke a lot of the early Ukraine stories about Joe Biden in 2019 at the Hill. I got killed by the media afterwards. All those stories have now been confirmed. But in recent months, I've had lots of people from the mainstream media, news outlets, places that used to criticize me for reporting on this, saying, can you help us get the story? So at least behind the scene now, people are beginning to honestly look at what was Hunter Biden really doing, waiting for that moment where the Justice Department may speak with some form of an indictment or deal. I know behind the scenes they haven't shown that courage on camera yet, but I suspect as this goes on and the Justice Department case wraps up, we probably will see the first signs of media going back and doing the job they should have done in 2019 and 2020.
I lied. Last question. Do you see an indictment of Hunter Biden before or after the midterms?
Listen, I don't understand why it's taking so long. The evidence is sitting there clear. There are letters and emails that I've made public where Hunter Biden's lawyers and others are telling me you didn't pay your taxes years ago. He still doesn't pay his taxes. Most people say, well, that's evasion. That's failure to pay taxes. Why it's taken so long, we don't know. But all the signs are that the grand jury is wrapping up its activity. If they're going to do something, they should be doing it in the next few weeks or months.
John Solomon, editor-in-chief of JustTheNews.com. I want to personally thank you very much on behalf of everyone from the Hannity team for joining us today. Insightful, intelligence, and right on point. Thank you very much. Look forward to working with you again.
Sir.
Thank you very much.
That's John. Leo.
Thank you. That's John Solomon, editor-in-chief of JustTheNews.com. Let me just tell you my spin, folks, and we'll take a break very briefly and come back, is that how can he just sit there and lie about it? That's Joe Biden's voice. And the White House press secretary who got the job based on gender and sexual orientation, shame on you. Shame on you. We'll be right back. Sean Hannity Radio Show, Leo 2.0, filling in for Mr. Hannity.
The Sean Hannity Show.
9 and AM 1230, News Talk Sports, WHIR. You know, the American public is getting pinched really hard right now. Some leftist policies, shutting down the Keystone